Today I wanted to talk about my favourite side character in the Witcher series. Now a lot of people that have just played The Witcher 3 won't actually know who this character is. They might have got a slight reference in some Scoia'tael camps, but they won't actually know who this character is. But people who've played The Witcher for a long time, or might even played The Witcher 3 then gone back and played The Witcher 2, will know of an elf named Iorveth. For people that don't know who Iorveth is, I'll give you a little bit of quick background information from The Witcher 2. Iorveth was basically the leader of a troop of elves in the woods known as the Scoia'tael. He assisted Letho of Gullett in the assassination of King Foltest and allowed him to have a, let's just say, easy escape. But Geralt meets him in The Witcher 2 and they become, well, if you decide to, they become friends. I'm not going to spoil anything, but throughout The Witcher 2, if you choose Iorveth's path, Iorveth and Geralt become good friends, and it would make sense for him to come up in The Witcher 3 at some point. But it would equally make sense for him not to come up, I suppose. So, the reason I say it would make sense for him to turn up is not just because it would make sense they're friends, but because he was actually cut from the original Witcher 3 game. Now this is a fact a lot of people that have played The Witcher 3 probably know, but a lot of people won't know. So today I thought I'd do a video just honouring him in a way and explaining why he was cut from the game, what I think about it, and if I ultimately think he should have stayed or not. So our first evidence for Iorveth having meant to be in The Witcher 3 was the fact in a 2013 interview with Game Informer, cdprojectred actually said Iorveth would be in the game. So there's, a pretty clear evidence that he was meant to be in the game, but he got cut. I'm going to get more into why he wasn't in it, but I just wanted to read this little bit of reference that they actually make in The Witcher 3 to Iorveth. So I think two elves are at a camp when this happens. I'm not quite sure, but I believe they say this. Have you heard the latest rumours about Iorveth? So riddled with arrows, he resembled a hedgehog, I tell you. Iorveth is dead. Iorveth. Dead? No, he's been spotted in Novigrad. If it's true, then what are we waiting for? Rubbish. They also said Isengrim had escaped, when in fact he'd been worm food for years. So that's just a little piece of dialogue, I believe, between two elves when they talk about Iorveth. I mean, for me, I think it's good that they still referenced him in the game, as he is such an amazing character. He is my favourite character, besides Geralt in the Witcher series. And I know that's quite strange, because there's so many great characters. But for me, that entire storyline with him in The Witcher 2, and the way that, you're enemies, then you become friends, but it's done in such a clever way that I really, really liked his entire character, his entire flip, and his entire reasons for doing things. So in The Witcher 3, Iorveth was actually meant to be part of a big Nilfgaardian subplot, which was actually about the Catriona plague. So what would have happened is Iorveth would have appeared in Velen and he was looking for a cure for the plague which was ravaging Velen. Then Geralt would find Iorveth and form an alliance between him, and then also Roach, Vess and Thala would also appear. Or Thala, sorry. So you'd also team up with an Nilfgaardian scientist, you'd be able to explore the Nilfgaardians' impact area of the plague, which would give you a bit more of an idea about the whole Nilfgaardian, their way of dealing with law. It would have been a very cool quest, to be honest. The first time you would actually meet Iorveth is in Novigrad. He would take part in a lot of the quests that you would do, and I'm just going to read these off this list: Pyres of Novigrad, Get Junior, Woodland Beast, Investigation, the Battle of Kaer Morhen, and Final Preparations. So Iorveth would have actually been at the Battle of Kaer Morhen. And I believe, just a little bit of quick information, if you get Letho and you bring him to the Battle of Kaer Morhen, when Vess and Roach are talking to Letho, that dialogue was actually meant for Iorveth and Letho, which I think would have been quite cool. So during the quest Pyres of Novigrad, he would have helped Geralt find Triss. They would go to her house together. So for example, when Geralt's searching her house, Iorveth would have been there with him. So it would have also been Geralt's way of finding the King of Beggars in Cleaver, because as Iorveth's, a bit of a roguish elf, he would have known the criminal underground. So Roach would have probably met him at some point. Iorveth and Geralt, it says here that there was actually reference for the meeting at the docks in Novigrad. I'm going to put a link to the page that I'm reading some of this information off, because obviously I don't know all of it, and I'm looking at some of it, and I just want to present this information to you in a way that is a bit more entertaining than you just reading off a page. So what are my opinions on all this? I think it is a little bit annoying, because in The Witcher 2 you really get to know Iorveth. You choose him as the person that's gonna be there to help you. You choose him as over Roach, if you do choose him. But then you're in The Witcher 3, you're almost forced to be with Roach. I mean, they were very proud when they made The Witcher 3. Obviously, The Witcher 3 comes out, it is amazing. It is an amazing game, and I'm not taking anything away from it. Better than the other two Witchers by far, in my opinion. But a lot of fans say that The Witcher 3, in some ways, was a fuck you to the other fans. But I don't think that's true. This is what they say. When they made The Witcher 3, they didn't want to include too many characters because they knew, they must have known that this game was so much better than their other two, and was just going to be a hit with everybody. For example, I'm pretty sure The Witcher 1 and 2 were not nearly on the scale of popularity as it was when The Witcher 3 came out. Now The Witcher is going to get its own Netflix series, it's this big thing. And before that point, it was a big thing, but it wasn't that big. So I know that a lot of fans are pretty annoying, they feel betrayed, but I don't feel betrayed. I feel like it makes sense for them to do that. I also feel like it isn't very fair on new players to just be bombarded with all these characters of the previous games when maybe they just don't want to play the other two games to start with. And at the end of the day, they made an amazing game. It is a little bit annoying that I was sort of forced to be friends with Roach when I did choose Iorveth in The Witcher 2, but in The Witcher 2, you still are friends with Roach by the end, so, you know, he saves your life. So it makes the most sense to include him over Iorveth. I mean, I would love Iorveth to have been in The Witcher 3, he's one of my favourite characters. I would have loved if they'd include him in one of the expansions, but they didn't, and that's fine. They made two great expansions, two of the biggest and greatest expansions any video games have had, I think, ever. I mean, Blood and Wine was effectively another game in itself, which is amazing. I mean, Skyrim had Dragonborn, but I think Blood and Wine just knocks that out of the park. I would love for them in the future to go back, maybe just edit bits of the game and add Iorveth in. I know it's a bit of work, but I just think it'd be cool. I mean, I would have loved if he'd just been, I don't know, sat in some Scoia'tael camp somewhere, smoking on his little pipe, not doing anything, like, oh, I'm guarding this place, Geralt, you know. That would have been awesome for me. And I'm sure one day somebody will make a mod, get the actual voice actor in, but I don't know how I feel about all of it, to be honest. I feel like they made a great game, it's sad Iorveth wasn't in it, but it's still a great game. And you can't fault them for that. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like, subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be making some Witcher videos, well, some more at some point. I'm going to be making some Star Wars videos. I want to do some possible Marvel videos. If you guys want that, please tell me in the comments if you actually want Marvel stuff. If you don't, I won't bother. I'd like to go into some more things, you know, like Middle-earth things. I'm definitely going to do that. Possibly even Halo at some point. I do like that that sci-fi game, so we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you had an awesome time. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.